All right, friends, welcome to our secondary interview with Vince here. We just finished our podcast recording, and it was
Went way too long. Yeah.
It was way too long. Min, thank you for the editing that you're going to do, because well, I want to say we talked a lot, but really Vince just shared so many great stories with us. And
It's Lindsay's way of saying Vince wouldn't shut up. Yeah.
Vince didn't let me say anything. But no, Vince, that's one of the things that I admire. Admire is the wrong word. I am enthralled by your capacity to use storytelling to connect and make your point.
Well, thank you. I received that. Thank you. Yeah.
I take that in.
Yeah, I take that in. Now you've made me speechless. I'm like, wow, that had the opposite effect. Yeah.
Sorry. You had said something on the podcast too, that sometimes people will say things and my heart, it fills so much with joy that I have to stop myself from crying and getting emotional.
I do the same. Yeah.
Right. And it takes me a moment to like, you're a professional. Come back down. Be professional. Excuse me while I weep.
I suck at holding it back though. Honestly, the amount of times I'm standing there, little tears forming, I'm like, it's dusty in here. Yeah.
You get that quiver in the voice.
Yeah.
So as always, after the podcast, I love to come in and do a quick deep dive into one of the points that really, at least for me, blew my mind. And I think for a lot of the listeners also blew their minds. So if you're coming here from the podcast, great, let's dive in. If you haven't listened to the podcast yet, you can go listen when we're done here. But one of the things that you talked about was, and this is a theme for every entrepreneur, I swear, was this constant pulling of your work that sets you off balance with your health, with your family, with your relationships, and that pull is never gone.
Yeah.
So what do you do? How do you set yourself up for success or support so that you don't lose yourself in the pull?
Yeah.
And so I would love for you to share, sort of expand on that a little bit more and share the 3 things that you do now to make sure that you've got the right support.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, first of all, framing of that is I suck at self-care. I really do. And I think anyone who's a heart-centered entrepreneur, anyone who genuinely wants to make an impact in the world, you're passionate about what you do. So it's really easy to get absorbed in that. So one of the things we talked about was I need to make sure that I'm here for the long haul. I need to make sure that I can turn up for my customers, for my family, for my friends, all these kind of things, which means I do need to prioritize myself. But what do you do when you suck at that? Well, you have to put safeguards in place. So there's 3 things that I have put in place. One of those accidentally, it just kind of happened, and 2 of those very deliberately. The first is I'm married to the most amazing woman in the entire world, Leanne. She is just incredible. And I'm sorry, but none of you can marry her. So this is just my little safeguard. But essentially, it's being surrounded by people who can actually look out for you and who actually can see the signs. And like we talked about in the podcast, but one of the things Leanne's really, really good at is she'll go, and I'm like, oh crap, this means she's going to ask me something deep. And she will ask me, she'll go, are you overdoing it at the moment? And one of the things I've trained myself to do is when Leanne asked me that question is to actually stop, pause, and actually reflect on that properly. And the reason is she doesn't just flippantly ask that. Usually when she's asking that question, it's like, I've seen patterns emerge here, which I don't think are healthy. I've seen you overdoing it perhaps, or you're looking a bit run down, or you're forgetting things more than normal. So what are you doing? Like, are you actually overdoing it? So I stop, I pause, I reflect on that, and I go, well, either no, I'm just actually really tired at the moment, or actually, yeah, I am overdoing it. And I've learned at that moment, that is when you have to stop yourself and go, okay, really, is anyone going to die or anything going to fall over if I take a break right now? No, it's not. I'm going to step away. I'm going to actually recharge my batteries and look after me. Yep. So putting that in your life, having people that can call you on that is really important. The second thing though, is I realized that's not enough. So I hired an accountability coach. And what I mean by that is immediately, as soon as you think of accountability coach, everyone goes, oh, are you working on the right things and making sure you're being structured around your week? No, none of that. My accountability coach's entire job is to make sure I'm prioritizing myself. And one of the ways they did that was to understand who I am and what I like to do. And we discovered that I love writing. So writing is one of my passions. I'm writing a number of different books at the moment. But one of the things we discovered is if I'm stressed or anxious, or I'm dealing with too much, or I'm overworking, I will sacrifice the writing. So my accountability coach once a week calls me up. How's the writing? How much writing did you get done this week? And I'm like, oh crap. And if it's not enough, honestly, they will call Leanne, and the 2 of them gang up on me. She's got free access to Leanne to go, hey, like, you know, I think he's overdoing it. I think he is as well. What a dick. I know. Let's get him right. No, they love me and they look after me. But actually having someone that you can check in on that, I think is really, really important. And it, more than anything, it actually gives you something that during the week, you know, like I know I'm going to have to report at the end of the week how much I've written, which makes me actually think about, why haven't I written anything right now? Oh, actually, it's probably because I'm overdoing it. What can I not sacrifice? It's the wrong word, but what can I push out till next week? Or what actually isn't a priority, but I'm making it a priority because I'm in a bad headspace or something. Or, you know, what's all the little vanity things where like, I'm doing that because it's easy and I love doing it and I feel fulfilled doing it, but actually it's not adding any value. Let's push that aside for another week, you know? So that's what it trains your brain to think a little bit different. But then the third thing, and this was the accidental thing, was just surround yourself with people that are freaking awesome, like Lindsay. And genuinely, I've got people like Lindsay that I can call on when I'm hitting the wall or I'm feeling a bit run down or like we did, I reached out to Lindsay one day and I'm like, I'm so tired, English not good, brain not function, need to write copy, help. So just jumped on a call and Lindsay's like, well, talk me through what you're trying to say. And we're back and forth with each other. But have people like that, that understand you, that know what you're going through, like people that are in a similar space to you, that you can actually call on and say, you know what, you just need to talk. You just need to tell them some of your frustrations and things, some of the anxiety and some of the fears. It will, honestly, I come off, and also I come off a call with Lindsay, I said, so relaxed, but actually usually I come off aching because we're laughing so much. The amount of times the two of us are just giggling, like, you've seriously ruined my face. I've got wrinkles everywhere because of you.
We just did our podcast, now we're doing now, and I'm smiling and I can feel like it hurts.
This is what happens when you call Lindsay, by the way. But genuinely having those people around you that you can call on will make a huge difference, because entrepreneurship can be really lonely. It genuinely can. You're trying to build something on your own in a lot of cases. So actually having I call it my extended family, having your extended family that you can call on every now and then to go, hey, and check in on, and hey, how are you getting on, and blah, blah, blah. It really does make a difference. And it makes it so much more enjoyable as well. We talk about the concept of work less, play more. This is the play part of it. This is the part where you get to have fun and just talk to cool people.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my three things I put in place to make sure I look after me.
Okay, I'm gonna make you share a story, because you shared the story in the podcast and I thought it was so lovely. And that was what Leanne did for you with the pillow and the couch and the Disney.
Yep. Okay, so background on this is I overdid it one day. I overdo it many days actually, but this was a particularly bad one because I couldn't control this. We had a summit coming up. I'd hired a VA who just went AWOL and was weeks behind on the work, and it was getting to the point where I was going to break. And I thought, I can't let all these people down because I've committed to this, so I need to do this. So I just worked through the night, worked through the weekends, got the work done, got it out there. And after the summit, thought this is going to be fine. By the way, as well as the summit, we were moving into the new house. So I had to get this all ready, launching a group program, going to a friend's wedding. There was so many different things we were doing at the same time. It was like, So I hit the wall, and the sign for it for me was losing my voice. And I got off like 10-hour recording sessions, like back-to-back recordings, and I had no voice left. I'm like, I've just overdone it. But the next day I'm like, okay, I'm not feeling great at all. I still had very little voice. In fact, for a couple of weeks, really, I really struggled with my voice there. Which is bad because this is my moneymaker. So I was like, okay. So I realized that my body was aching, everything. Basically, I had overdone it, and my body was rebelling on me and going, Vince, if you're not going to look after yourself, we're going to force you to. But I get up at 3 o'clock every morning. I only have 4 hours sleep a night, but that's how I'm genetically made up. So that's not me trying to overdo it or be a hero. But I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I come in here, usually into the office. I usually write my notes and what I'm doing for the day and all this. But I turn around and Leanne's standing there. Now, Leanne doesn't get up till 6 a.m. But Leanne's standing next to me and she goes, away from the computer. And I'm like, what? And she dragged me into the lounge, not dragged me, but I'm kicking and screaming by the head. If I had hair, like, yeah, caveman styles. Now she drew me into the lounge, and what she had done is put a pillow down on our couch. We've got these two couches, one of them's super comfy. Put a pillow there and a blanket, and she goes, lie down. Here's the remote. Here's Disney Plus. Watch your Marvel, watch your Star Wars stuff. And you're not allowed to get up from that couch all day unless you're going to the bathroom. But I'm going to wait on you hand and foot. And she made me every meal I need, or the coffee I need, poured me a whiskey. That was nice. And I just got to give myself permission to switch off. And it did two things. One, it just really did relax me. It was incredible. It was just having the permission to go, you know what, screw everyone else. This is me time. That was amazing. it made me realize just how incredible having the right person in your life is, and having someone that's there through you, basically got your back in the trenches. Every time it's like those action movies, you're there with your guns like this, and they're back to back with you going, yeah, we got this, bam, 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 bam. It's awesome. So
what you said is, I suck at self-care, and there's an owning and I talk a lot about radical self-acceptance. That is accepting yourself. I am not good at self-care. Left to my own devices, I will work myself into the ground. And I'm speaking on your behalf, but also me, I am the same. And so much like you, I will have friends that will say the same thing. Like they'll hear it in me. So I have the added complexity of having bipolar disorder. And so I will get very hyper-focused on things and quickly lose my balance. And I have friends who are very good at recognizing when I'm falling out of balance, and just a gentle check-in. But what I think is key is what you just said earlier, which is that it's not about getting defensive or feeling like you're in trouble, but more going, am I getting out of balance? They're hearing it, they're noticing it. What am I not paying attention to? And it is that mindfulness that comes from the self-acceptance and the ability to, at least if we can't give it to ourselves, let somebody else give it to us. Let someone else throw us over their shoulder and give us the remote.
Yeah, 100%. Well, this is the thing, is our bodies, and we talked about this in the podcast, but our bodies are always telling us anyway, and like they're always sending us signals that you should look after yourself. Problem is, we really suck at seeing those signals. So sometimes we need something that's going to amplify those signals back at us, and that's what these people are.
I love it. I love it. Oh my gosh. And then one last thing I want to touch on is what you talked about with the loneliness and the isolation of entrepreneurship. And again, we gushed about the journey of entrepreneurship and entrepreneurs in the podcast. Just the people, you and I included, who take nothing but a spark and a desire to have an impact and turn it into a profitable business. And that's magic in itself.
It really is. Yeah.
But entrepreneurship will also eat you alive.
Oh yeah.
And it's so important to have business friends that you can count on. Vince, you talked about how you came to me for copywriting. That no different than I came to you and said, okay, I need some marketing help. My brain, I can't keep going through the same thoughts in my head over and over and over. Even though, yes, I teach marketing, but that doesn't mean that my thoughts don't go over and over and over. So I'm going to go to my marketing expert friend and go, help me think this out. What am I missing? And it's more than just like, hey, let's get a beer, buddy. It's like, my business brain won't stop talking to me. Help.
It's super important, honestly, because the thing you got to realize too is entrepreneurs, if you don't have other entrepreneurs in your life, you're basically surrounded by people who can't see your vision. Right. So you're creating something, and friends and family are always the worst at this, and they mean it in a nice way, but they're all like, oh, that's never going to work. Oh, that'll never be. And they try and ground you and bring you down, but they're doing that because they can't see what you see. They can't see the vision of what you see out there. So they can only see what's in the present. So they want to keep you safe. So they're only trying to protect you through their ignorance, but that's okay.
I love how you're like, how there's like the backhanded compliment. You're like the backhanded insult. You'll be like, their own ignorance means they love you.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's the addition to that is also, and I hear this a lot from the younger entrepreneurs in my community, and I'm curious if you hear it too, whereas they don't understand why we work so hard when there's no money coming in the beginning of a business. Well, why are you working so hard? You could be earning money from a job. Why are you working so hard? It's not even...
Oh my goodness. Yes, I do hear this all the time. And you see this tension, and even in entrepreneurs as well, because there's a part of us that feels like we need to be an adult, we need to grow up and get a real job because we see what other people are doing there. But don't prescribe your life based on what they're doing at all, right? Because you're playing a long game in this, right? Now you're putting, like we talk about this concept of passive income. I hate the term passive income because, whenever you think about it, you're like, oh, it just means I kick back and all this money's rolling in. It's dollar bills everywhere. But the reality is it's not passive income. It's you working really, really hard up front so that you get long-term gain from this. And that's what entrepreneurship is all about. You're building something to impact others that takes a long time to suddenly take off. Like it's not a linear path at all. In fact, to be honest, it's not even an exponential path. It's
like this. So I should go back and
you're like, wait, I'm back in the beginning. Oh no, now I'm over here. So I hear this all the time, but that's I mean, I forgot the question even. That's why we do what we do.
Just to reiterate what you just said, I'm going to throw a bow around that, which is that entrepreneurship takes time and you're working your butt off now for what you're going to have in the future. And if that includes passive revenue streams, great. Both Vince and I can help you get there.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But you need to do the hard work now and the oodles of work now, even when people around you question your sanity. It's because you know where you're going and you're okay with doing
honestly,
it now.
Lindsay, when I left Cigna, I still remember one of the parting comments there from the CEO. She's like, you do know how much we pay you, don't you? And I went, yeah. And she goes, do I need to get you a counselor? Do you need to talk to someone, a psychologist or something? I'm fine. I know what I'm doing. It's like, she genuinely thought she couldn't understand my world, couldn't understand what I wanted to do. And the fact I was walking away from all of this, because to her, that's everything. So to her, it was like, you obviously are mentally unbalanced, which, I'm an entrepreneur. Of course, I'm mentally unbalanced. That's what we are.
There is correlation between neurodivergent or people who have mental, I don't want to say mental illness, but stuff, and entrepreneurship. And usually it's because entrepreneurship provides us the space that we need to function and flourish that the rigid corporate boxes do not.
Oh my goodness, I love that.
There is actually a correlation. Yeah.
We're going to riff off that on another time.
I know this is the next podcast.
Let
me do some research. But there's a great meme I saw where it said entrepreneurs are the only people who will quit their job and work twice as much just to be their own boss.
This is the funny thing. Why'd you become an entrepreneur? For the freedom.
But that's actually not true, because that's what you and I very much are working on and creating. And that freedom takes time. It's not that you can't have it, but it takes time to get there.
And the other thing too, redefine freedom. Because when people talk to people like that, they mean freedom means you can sit around and watching Netflix all day. No, freedom means you are free to do what you know is going to impact the world. This is very different. Oh, I love this.
Oh my gosh. Okay. We're going to wrap it up, because honestly, welcome to the Vince and Lindsay show. We could maybe we do have our own podcast, because we could just go and go.
Oh my goodness. It would be, it would be a nonstop. Every episode's like 5 hours long.
I know. Literally it's just a running. We stop our work completely. Leanne is banging on the door.
To be fair though, as I said, I think in the podcast, we would have 6-pack abs from the amount of giggling that we do. Like, honestly, this would just be solid core. It'd be amazing.
Forget the gym. Join us on a podcast. Oh my goodness. Vince, thank you so much for coming, hanging out not once but twice with me today.
Lindsay, every time is a pleasure. Honestly, I honestly forgot we were recording a podcast when we were doing the podcast, because just hanging out with you is always fun anyway. So.
It is. I love my time with you. We have so much fun, and it's like the highlight of my day, week, month, year. It's the best. It's the best.
Oh, Lindsay, the love is coming right back at you. Honestly, you are genuinely one of the coolest human beings I know. So thank you.
Right back at you, seriously. Okay, friends, listen, here's what I want you to do. I want you to scroll on down below. I've got all of Vince's juiciness down there. We've got links to his site, links to his book, Chasing the Insights, links where you can follow him on social, and of course the podcast link, so you can come and listen to us dive even deeper into these subjects and more. That's it for me. Vince, anything to add before we go?
No, just love you guys to bits. You're entrepreneurs. That makes you special. Just remember that, okay?
Listen to this guy over here. Amazing. Thank you so much, everybody. Make it a great day. Happy connecting, and we will see you online.